Welcome to the 40th Annual Mississippi College Academic Competition. The competition began the year with 17 teams from high schools across the state. Teams are matched in quiz-like competition, utilizing questions developed and tested for the high school level. Our goal is to recognize academic knowledge, to encourage learning, and to foster the spirit of competition and fair play.
Keelan Hurt, freshman.
Sean Tucker, freshman.
Nathan Flippo, senior.
Emery Flippo, senior.
Shala Smith, freshman.
Kara Weatherby, freshman.
Nancy Clement, senior.
Stephen Clement, senior.
Connor Johnston, senior.
Ellery Cannell, junior.
Elizabeth Bedner, sophomore.
We'll start the first round with a toss-up question for 10 points. Which word beginning with D designates a maiden or an old-fashioned girl?
St. Aloysius, Nancy. No.
And is often used preceding the words in distress.
Jumpertown, Nathan.
Dan.
Yes.
For 20 points, identify by its Latin name, meaning shaped like the letter upsilon, the U-shaped bone at the root of the human tongue, the body's only bone not connected with another. No answer from either team. It's the hyoid bone. It's a math question for 10 points. The first term of a geometric series is 3/4, while the fourth term is 6. Find the sum of the second and third terms of this sequence. No answer from either team. It's 4½ or 9/2 or 4.5. For 10 points, which colorful term designates both a loss of consciousness and a stoppage of television coverage?
St. Aloysius, Connor. A blackout? Yes.
For 15 points, who pillaged the coast of North and South America in his circumnavigation of the world and later destroyed Philip II's fleet in the...
Jumpertown, Emery.
Magellan?
No.
outer harbor of Cadiz. A year later, in 1588, he was an admiral in the English fleet that defeated the Spanish Armada. No answer from St. Aloysius. It's Sir Francis Drake. For 10 points, identify by its Latin name, meaning rod or spoke, the shorter and thicker of the two bones of the human forearm.
St. Aloysius, Nancy.
Ulna.
No.
Okay, no answer from Jumpertown. It's radius. We have a math question for 10 points. If the length of each side of a square is reduced by 30%, then by what percent is the area of the square reduced?
Jumpertown, Emery.
51%?
Yes.
And we move to a toss-up for 15 points. Which Italian word ending in the letter O is used in musical direction to mean in a slow and leisurely manner?
Jumpertown, Nathan.
Concerto?
No. St. Aloysius, Nancy.
No. It's adagio. For 10 points, identify the U.S. president whose boyhood Civil War home in Augusta, Georgia was opened in 2001 after being restored for $1.6 million. He led the U.S. in World War I and founded the League.
Jumpertown, Nathan.
Woodrow Wilson?
Yes.
For 10 points, which treaty formally ended World War I when it was signed on June 28th?
Jumpertown, Emery.
The Treaty of Versailles?
Yes.
For 20 points, name the 6-column, 5-story gate now seen as a monument to German unity, though it was a symbol of division from the time the Berlin Wall went up in 1961 until it was reopened in December 1989.
Jumpertown, Emory.
The Brandenburg Gate.
Yes.
It's a math question for 10 points. Give the simplified product of 3 times the square root of 6 and 2 times the square root of 6.
St. Aloysius, Stephen.
12 on the square root of 3.
Jumpertown, Nathan.
5 times the square root of 6.
No.
It's going to be 36, and that concludes round 1. We'll be back in a moment with a preliminary score. After 1 round of play, the score is Jumpertown High School, 60 points, St. Aloysius High School, 10 points. We move into round 2, and we'll start with a 10-point toss-up question. In the rocket industry, what does the acronym LOX stand for?
St. Aloysius, Stephen.
Liquid oxygen.
Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. Identify each of the following concerning biology. For 5 points, term other than simple cell division that identifies the process by which a cell divides into 2 cells.
Mitosis.
Yes.
For 10 points, to which kingdom do bacteria and cyanophytes or blue-green algae belong? We need an answer.
Bacteria.
No.
No, Jumpertown.
Protista.
No.
It's going to be Monera. We go back to a toss-up question for 15 points. Identify President Trump's first appointee to the Supreme Court.
St. Aloysius, Ellery.
Amy Coney Barrett.
No.
No answer from Jumpertown. It was Neil Gorsuch. We're back to a toss-up for 20 points. When Alaska and Hawaii became states in 1959, the U.S. House of Representatives was temporarily expanded to 2 more than its traditional number, set by law in 1929, giving it how many members until reapportionment in 1960 returned it to the earlier count?
St. Aloysius, Stephen.
437.
Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. Identify each of the following focused on the word before. For 5 points, the number of plagues in the Bible before the Exodus of the Jews.
7 plagues.
No.
No, Jumpertown.
10 plagues.
Yes.
Yes. And we go back to a toss-up question for 10 points. Name the writings found by a shepherd boy in the Qumran Valley and called the greatest manuscript discovery.
St. Aloysius, Stephen.
Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. Identify the following by giving an answer including the word new. For 5 points, concord is a word meaning harmony or from the same mind. This word is also the name of the capital of which state?
New Hampshire.
Yes.
For 10 points, the U.S. state where Carlsbad Caverns are located.
New Mexico.
Yes.
For 15 points, the U.S. state where the Winter Olympic Games were held in Lake Placid in 1932 and 1980.
New Jersey.
No.
Jumpertown.
New York.
Yes.
Yes. And we go back to a toss-up question for 10 points. The Pyrenees Mountains form a border between which 2 large countries?
St. Aloysius, Stephen.
Chile and Argentina.
No. Jumpertown, Nathan.
Austria and Switzerland.
No.
It's going to be France and Spain. We go back to a toss-up question for 10 points. Identify the class of simple sugars that are the simplest of carbohydrates.
St. Aloysius, Stephen.
Monosaccharides.
Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. Identify each of the following concerning baseball history. For 5 points, U.S. President who pressed a button to light the lights for the first Major League night game in 1935.
FDR.
Yes.
For 10 points, which player for the Baltimore Orioles broke Lou Gehrig's record of 2,130 straight games during the 1959 season?
Babe Ruth.
No. Jumpertown.
Satchel Paige.
No.
It's going to be Cal Ripken Jr. We go back to a toss-up question for 20 points. Which name designates both any of various diseases with skin lesions and the southern constellation located near the Milky Way between Centaurus and Scorpius, and named from the Latin word for... That concludes the end of round 2. We'll be back in a moment with a preliminary score. After 2 rounds of play, the score is Jumpertown High School 80, St. Aloysius High School 85. We move into round 3, and we'll start off with a toss-up question for 10 points. You might want to grab your pencils for this one. In a 10-team league, how many games will be played if each team plays every other team exactly twice? No answer
No.
from either team. It's going to be 90. It's a toss-up question for 10 points. When Robert Peary claimed that he had discovered the North Pole on April 6, 1909, which former U.S. president, upon hearing the news, said, "Bully for Peary"?
Jumpertown, Nathan. Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. Montana has a border with Idaho. One at a time, name 4 other states bordering Idaho. Name one for 5 points.
Washington.
Yes.
Yes. For 10 points.
North Dakota.
No.
No.
Oregon. Over here, please.
Oregon.
Yes.
Yes. All right, and we go back to a toss-up question for 10 points. Which warm current of water originates in the Western Caribbean Sea and merges it?
Jumpertown, Emory.
The Gulf Stream.
Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. Identify a word beginning with the letters T-E-N for each of the following. For 5 points, the thread-like part of a climbing plant that attaches itself to something and helps support the structure of the plant.
Tendril.
Yes.
For 10 points, sinew.
Tinsel.
Say now.
Tendon.
Yes.
Yes. And we go back to a toss-up question for 10 points. Which of the following words means an act that may serve as an example for a subsequent situation? Antecedent, forerunner, progenitor, or precedent?
St. Aloysius, Stephen. President. Yes.
And here are your bonus questions. Answer each of the following concerning paper. For 5 points, which element, now in thousands of products, including paper, plastics, and pesticides, is symbolized by Cl?
Chlorine.
Yes.
For 10 points, identify the world's first paper-like material which was derived from the fibers of an Egyptian reed-like water plant.
Papyrus.
Yes.
For 15 points, which word originally used to name a roll of papyrus made from sheets pasted together and put on a rod now designates any one tome of a series?
Scroll.
No.
Jumpertown?
Chapter.
No.
It's going to be a volume. So we go back to a toss-up question for 20 points. About whom did John Adams write in 1806? I know not whether any man in the world has had more influence on its inhabitants or affairs for the last 30 years than blank. This person wrote The American Crisis.
Jumpertown, Emory.
Alexander Hamilton.
No. St. Aloysius, Elizabeth.
Thomas Jefferson.
No.
It's going to be Thomas Paine. We have a math question for 10 points. Factor completely the following polynomial over the set of integers. 16x to the fourth power minus y to the fourth power.
Jumpertown, Nathan.
1/2 x minus y.
No.
And that concludes round 3. We'll be back in a moment with a preliminary score. After 3 rounds of play, the preliminary score is Jumpertown High School 110, St. Aloysius High School 130. We'll go into the 4th and final round with a toss-up question for 5 points. The 3-word phrase meaning the beginning and the end and comprising the first and last letters of the Greek alphabet.
Jumpertown, Emory.
Alpha and Omega.
Yes.
For 10 points, name either of the 2 key signatures in music having no sharps or flats.
St. Aloysius, Elizabeth. C major. Yes.
For 10 points, what is the E term for swirling currents, such as those formed as the Gulf Stream merges up along the Grand Banks?
St. Aloysius, Stephen.
Eddy currents. Eddy.
Yes.
For 10 points, which of the following words means a twinge of conscience or remorse? Compunction, collusion, avocation, or affliction?
St. Aloysius, Stephen.
Affliction.
No. Jumpertown.
Avocation.
No.
It's going to be compunction. For 10 points, what is the term Wall Street uses for a downtrending market?
St. Aloysius, Stephen.
Bear market.
Yes.
For 20 points, which American plant breeder and horticulturist developed the Shasta daisy, the spineless cactus, and the white blackberry, and also had a potato named after him?
St. Aloysius, Stephen.
Russet.
No.
Good guess. Okay. No answer. All right. It was Luther Burbank. For 10 points, which word completes the proverb, no one ever went blank, underestimating the intelligence of the American people?
Jumpertown, Emory.
Unpunished.
No. St. Aloysius, Elizabeth.
Wrong.
No.
No one ever went broke. For 20 points, identify the Missouri-born artist of the American Scenic Movement who included a flattering picture of Jesse James in a mural he was commissioned to paint for the Missouri State Capitol in 1935. His first names are Thomas Hart. No answer from either team. It's Benton. For 10 points, the 2-word term for the force that causes a liquid to act as if a thin, elastic film covers its surface.
Jumpertown, Nathan.
Surface tension.
Yes.
For 15 points, identify the sea in the Atlantic Ocean whose name is derived from the Portuguese word meaning seaweed. No answer from either team. It's the Sargasso seed. We're back to a toss-up for 5 points. Identify the megalithic observatory whose stones are so arranged as to mark the...
Jumpertown, Emory.
Stonehenge.
Yes.
For 15 points, which term is used to designate a government by a person or persons claiming to rule with divine authority and placing religious...
Jumpertown, Emory.
Theocracy.
Yes.
For 10 points, in which type of soil does a halophyte grow? A soil in which most plants would actually die.
Jumpertown, Emory.
Sand.
No. Aloysius, Connor.
Acidic.
No.
It's going to be salty. For 10 points, which of the following is not a state capital? Boise, Carson City, Springfield, or Lexington?
St. Aloysius, Elizabeth. Yes.
For 20 points, identify the mountains in northwestern Africa whose highest point is Jebel Tibkal.
Jumpertown, Emory.
The Atlas Mountains.
Yes.
For 20 points, which president said to Congress about the declaration of war on Mexico, Mexico has passed the boundary of the United States, has invaded our territory, and shed American blood upon the American soil.
Jumpertown, Nathan. No. St. Aloysius, Stephen.
Thomas Jefferson.
No.
It's going to be James K. Polk. We have a math question for 10 points. What is the value of the cosine of 90 degrees? And unfortunately, we cannot answer that question. I will give you the answer. The answer was 0. And we'll be right back with a final score for this contest. After 4 rounds of play, the final score is Jumpertown High School 165, St. Aloysius High School 170. St. Aloysius High School will advance to the semifinal round.